Well, did a couple little upgrades to the second gen. Put a cold air intake on it with better filtering system. You can actually hear it sucking air through here versus the previous one. It had that big plastic box right on top of it and a big plastic thing coming on over. And I had put a new filter in it like a couple years ago. Haven't driven a lot until this summer. Then I drove the truck a lot more, and so I just thought, I'm gonna give it a little upgrade. Instantly, when you started the truck, if you could hear everything running so much better here, and just you can hear it drawing air. I also put a new transmission temperature gauge on the truck. And then I got that ran up through. Did some clean wiring up here, put a ground there, ran that power wire nice and neatly zip tied across all the way in through the firewall. Truck's been turned off for a couple hours now, so I just started it up. But yeah, I've been doing some small upgrades to the second gen here and there. It's been kind of fun. Open this garage door up so I can back it out. Give it a little rev. I do like this truck. I will say that. I do like the truck. And I do have more upgrades on the way for this truck because the wife and I splurged and we bought like a fun toy thing. And I'm going to be pulling it around with this. So I wanted to do some additional upgrades to the truck just to kind of have peace of mind. Not necessarily anything that needed done in terms of the truck's got some kind of issues or nothing like that, but just stuff that I wanted to do and I've kind of been wanting to do for a while, and then this kind of pushed me over the edge to just go ahead and get it done. So I'm putting a deeper transmission pan in there to hold a little more fluid. I put the transmission temp gauge on it and got that really clean and wired up nice. And then I'm putting a Mishimoto transmission cooler on the truck as well, just as an additional thing to keep it cool and keep it running nice. Because with the new thing we've got coming on and showing up soon, I am going to be towing with this truck a little bit more than I have in the last few years, actually. And I actually did take it on a trip. If you watch my outdoor channel at all, I took it on a trip with the kids, did about a 400-mile round trip in the truck. Wasn't pulling much, but I was pulling a small utility tray with a four-wheeler, about 600 pounds of corn in the back, some tools, some other stuff. My truck got like 11.6 at highway speed cruising, and I'll be honest, that might not sound good to you guys that drive EcoBoost and stuff, but for an old truck with a 5.9 gas, that's pretty good. Like, that's not bad. And so I was pretty happy with that. And because I all this time I've just been assuming, like, dude, this truck gets like 8 miles to the gallon, 10 miles, and it does under circumstances, like certain circumstances. But on that particular trip, I mean, I was, well, like, really impressed. And when I said cruising speed, I was going like between 65 and 68. I wasn't like ripping at 75 miles an hour. Probably wouldn't have gotten 11.6 then. But truck's been great. And I know I've got conflicting feelings. Maybe some of you guys struggle with the same thing. It's like, I could go buy a new truck. Like, I could literally just go and write a check for a brand new truck. But why? Like, if this truck gives me no problems, I've already got the money sitting aside if I ever need a transmission or a new engine in it. It's like, so as long as those two things aren't a problem, I've got AC, I've got CarPlay, I've got wireless talking, I've got my transmission temp gauge in there now to keep an eye on that transmission, because that's my number one concern when pulling trailers with this thing, is keeping an eye on that. I'm doing more upgrades. I'm doing an aftermarket transmission cooler and a deeper pan with more fluid. Like, when it really comes down to it, do I really care to drive anything else? And the answer is no, I really don't care that much. There's a cool factor about driving in a new truck. Like, if you can truly pay cash for a new truck, don't get me wrong, there's a cool factor about it. I've done that. But even then, if you can do that, like, it's so much smarter to just put that money. Like, if you've got 60 grand cash to throw at a truck, it's so much smarter to put that money into an asset that's going to give you anything 6 to 12% a year on your money, or 8 to 10 or whatever. It's so much smarter. It's so much better. And that's kind of at a stage of life where I'm in now, where I'm like, I really don't care when I pull up to a stoplight what anybody thinks about my truck. I really don't care. It's nice. It's clean. I love it. That's all I care about. It's got good air. It's got CarPlay. It's got anything that I would want out of a new truck other than being a new truck. Unless you just care about impressing other people. Who gives a rip, dude? I don't give a rip. I could go buy a brand new truck right now, cash. I don't care. Like, I'd rather drive this and just keep throwing money at my business, growing that, other things, buying property. Like, that's the real flex. I'm buying farms. I'm buying houses. I'm buying a fleet completely cash. I don't care what you think about my truck, bro. You know, and if your truck is your only real asset and it's your most valuable asset, that's a problem. That's like a major concerning problem because it's not as big of a flex as you think. Like, the guy that's got 60 grand parked in an asset producing 10% a year is far better off than the guy that's got 60 grand parked in a truck that's paid off and it's cool and it's whatever, it's a flex. Or trust me, I've been there. It's not that much of a flex, because when you actually realize that most people that have those trucks, they're not even paid off, they're financed, and they're leveraged up to their teeth in debt trying to make payments on their lifestyle, it's not that much of a flex. It really is not. Like, that's why that's why vehicles just don't impress me anymore. Like, when I was young and I didn't know any better, I always used to think like, man, I see everybody's got a new vehicle, man, everybody must be making good money. Like, when I was like really young. And then I realized, I'm like, crap, dude, most of these people are so broke. I do not want to do that. And then even if their cars are paid off, and that's the only thing they save up money for, is to keep paying for a new vehicle. It's like, what do you have invested? What's your future going to look like? Oh, you don't invest in anything. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to keep driving this for a while yet. I love the thing. It's given me no problems, no reason to get rid of it. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? This truck really does serve all of my needs in terms of what I need out of a truck. It really does. I don't tow anything that heavy anymore. 11.6 miles per gallon highway. It is what it is. Is it a little bit salty on the fuel mileage? Yeah, but even my EcoBoost that I had and sold, I wasn't that impressed with the fuel mileage on that 2016 EcoBoost. It wasn't that impressive. Like, driving back and forth, like in-town driving, I was getting like 14 out of it, which is, yeah, for a truck, it's not bad, but it wasn't impressive. And then highway, I could kind of creep up on 19 without a trailer, but when I hooked up a 3,000 pound trailer empty, I was getting like 10. Like, it was not good. And so I'm like, dude, if this gets this bad of fuel mileage towing, I would rather drive my truck that just gets kind of bad fuel mileage all the time. I could really care less. Like, the whole reason I even wanted a newer truck was so I had more efficiency doing longer distance trips. But if I wasn't going to get that when pulling a trailer, it's like, I don't need it. Like, I really don't need it. There's no, and even in that argument of like, well, I could just park this and get a newer truck that's better on fuel mileage, more comfortable, whatever. It's like, okay, but then I'm going to park this and I'm going to actually start having problems with it because I don't ever drive it. So it's like, you know, an extra vehicle insurance, an extra vehicle to maintain, extra thing to keep clean. It's like, is it really the better alternative? I don't think so. That's just me. But that being said, guys, I'm pretty pumped about this thing. And on another note, the trailers got freaking busy since the last video I made. Literally, like, they got busy. So I had a really slow, which is like super unusual for me, other than when I very first started. I had a really slow last week, like Thursday through Sunday. And I still think it mostly had to do with the Canadian smoke coming down here, because it was really bad. I mean, I was working in a mask, brush hogging, trying to work and not breathe that crap in because it was so potent out here. So I'm assuming that probably has something to do with it, and people taking the warning seriously about, like, don't be outside for more than a few hours at a time because air quality is terrible and you're going to die. Like, it was literally the warnings that I was getting on all my weather apps and everything. And I'm assuming everybody else got the same ones. But I've got the 24 footer out. I've got one of the 14 footers out. One of the other 20 footers are leaving here this afternoon yet. And then I've got all the there's not a single car trailer. They're all gone. And then on top of that, we've got 2 dump trailers gone today and a utility trailer. And so it went from like slow to like these last 3 or 4 days have been just freaking slammed. Like yesterday I had to turn away like 6 people for car trailers, which I hate turning people away. I was like so close to just going this morning and picking up another trailer, but I had some other stuff I needed to do. So I might do that in a couple of videos here. I might just go and pick up a couple more trailers Because why not? That's what I'd rather do with my money, is grow my business. Because every time I buy another trailer, there's another anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a month in revenue, depending on what I get and how busy it stays. But regardless, it's 100% going to make me more money to buy another asset, even if it only made me $500 a month and it didn't get that booked. Bro, that's a good rate of return on like a $5,000 to $7,000 investment. Like, it really is. So that being said, I really just can't see any downfall in investing in the fleet. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it. Just wanted to give you a little update on the old second gen here. Man, it is such a good looking truck. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what you say. That gas second gen, the cap is hit or miss. Some people don't love the cap, but like, imagine the cap's like not there for you guys that are like anti-cap guys. Okay, it's a nice drive. I'll catch you in the next video. If you want any business consulting or strategizing for your rental business to get going, rentalpivot.com. We've got agreements, contracts, all that stuff. If you guys want to book a call and ask about it, and I'm happy to do it. I can throw in all the rental agreements for those strategy calls. I was thinking about doing that anyways, but the reason I didn't want to do that, because I had some people ask about like, hey, like, are all the agreements included? I can. It's not that big of a deal, but I just wanted to make known that like the main thing you're paying for that call is not cookie cutter documents. Like, that's not why you're buying the call. You're buying the call because it's really helpful strategic business strategies and advice, like to literally help you make tons of money. So I'm trying to make sure the value is on the call and the information you're getting to grow your business and make a lot of money, not necessarily putting value on like, oh, you're going to get documents and the call is just kind of a perk. It's like, no, the main thing that's actually going to help you is the call, because if you don't have a good strategy, you don't need rental agreements. If you don't have a good strategy, you don't need a booking software. If you don't have a good strategy, you don't need to get reviews, because you're not going to get any anyways, because you don't get enough business. So that being said, the whole point of the strategy calls is to really deep dive into your goals. What's your budget? What are you trying to buy? What do you want your schedule to look like if you were to start this? How should you price your stuff? What's your competition look like? How would I price according to your competition, your specific area, doing market research with you? Like, you can pack a lot of stuff into a 1 hour phone call to like literally be turnkey business ready, like legit, like all the strategy you need. And you get a whole print off of notes that gets sent to you by text or email after the call of like everything we talked about, the whole strategy that I would follow to get going. So that way it's not like you have to remember it all. It's like, I will send you over everything that we talked about over the call. It is well worth the investment. If I could have paid a few $100 to get all that information when I first started, I would have gladly done it, because I would have made like an extra 30 or 40 grand in those first like 4 or 5 months, and I was really getting going, and it took forever because I just didn't know any better. I look forward to seeing the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.